It turns out that for a brief period of time, you could use Wu Zetian to heal troops you didn't have and basically infinitely gain power. It's been fully fixed, but we're going to talk about the Wu Zetian exploit, what happened, and what Lilith's done about it, and what this means for the future of Rise of Kingdoms. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and today we're going to be talking about an exploit, a true exploit that people were using to gain infinite amounts of power. Yes, really, I'm told that players shot up by hundreds of millions of power using this exploit, obviously in a way to break the game. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing the subscribe button for the latest news in the game. Now you can see that the Lilith group has sent out a message saying like, hey, there was a bug with Wu Zetian where you could increase the number of troops you had when you used a skill. Basically, the way this worked is that when Wu Zetian was below 50% health, when she would use her active skill, I believe it was the active skill, she would summon believers. That's right, you know, the believers that like defend the lost temple or some of these other holy sites, right? And summon the believers just like, you know, one of the guardians of a holy site. And those believers would walk up to Wu Zetian and then heal her. But they would heal her for troops that she didn't have, and those troops would be permanently added to your troop count. That's my understanding of kind of what was taking place over here. So if we get a look further on at this message, they say, hey, we apologize for the bug and any inconvenience it may cause. Standard language that they kind of use when there's an issue in the game. We will be conducting, because, you know, obviously this is a little inconvenient for everybody. Infinite troops obviously is a little inconvenient. We will be conducting a maintenance today to fix the bug. And the maintenance is expected to last 1 hour. All the units gained from exploiting this bug will be removed shortly after the maintenance. Let me tell you something. While it might be, you know, feel cool to use an exploit while, you know, it's not patched, obviously they were going to go in and fix something like this. So if you did something like this in a way that was obviously as an exploit, in other words, going in and doing this repeatedly, yeah, like, I hope you don't, well, I don't know. I hope you were expecting to get banned, is what I'm trying to say, because they probably will ban a whole bunch of people who were doing that. Because, like, obviously it's an exploit. Obviously, you're gaining more troops. So if you were gaining hundreds of millions of power, like, yeah, you know, we'll see what they do with the people who did it before they sent this message. But now that they've sent this message, we hope that governors don't make use of this bug to assault other governors or damage their benefits in other ways. Any violators will be punished in the form of a ban. So, look, they may not ban the people who did it before they sent the message, but now that they've sent this message, you use Wu Zetian, just don't. Just do not use Wu Zetian right now. You will probably just get banned, okay? Now, I don't know how the heck that works if you're in KVK or a war and that's your garrison commander. I don't know what to say about that, but that's why they sent this message, and then I guess shortly thereafter they're taking the server down, you know? They're moving pretty quick on this. We apologize for the inconvenience, truthfully. So they really are sorry that like this is a bug that made it into production. And you know, I get why this would be a weird one. And how does this even happen in the first place is also an interesting question. You know, I have a suspicion that sometimes the skill abilities are sort of lumped together. In other words, effects that all do the same sort of thing are all kind of categorized as like, I don't know, like a deserter effect or a reduction effect, and they're all grouped together and one overwrites another frequently, so you can't like stack debuffs onto a target. And I mention that because maybe Wu Zetian's, one of her abilities was like, you know, a similar-ish family of abilities to what a believer does, but somehow it would summon a believer. I don't know. I can't claim to know how their code works. I'm only guessing here that that's how this would potentially happen and go undetected, because it is pretty weird. Wu Zetian has to get below 50%, use an ability, then she summons believers, it heals her, and the heal, you would have to notice, is giving you more troops, enough apparently to gain outrageous amounts of power, because there are some folks who have exploited it to go and do that. So what do I think is going to happen? Anyone who uses the exploit, since this ability was sort of called out as being an exploit, is going to get banned. And anyone who used it before this point, and you see the servers going down in 15 minutes here, might get banned too if they did so in a way to gain outrageous amounts of power, because it's obviously an exploit. What does this mean for Rise of Kingdoms? In my opinion, really, anytime you see an exploit, you should report it and not abuse it, okay? And if you abuse it, you open yourself up to getting banned, and I can't imagine it's worth losing your Rise of Kingdoms account for some ban, some gain that Lilith is probably going to figure out eventually. And when they do, they've got records of who used it, right? Like they have extensive logs, even combat logs, right? And although the combat logs do expire after, some amount of time, I have to think that they've got some amount of storage that they can access of all the logs over all time, and they can kind of go in and check it out. And if not all time, then there's some period of time for which they have these logs and then they purge them. And man, they're going to crawl those logs, see who is exploiting this, and they're going to take the troops back, and some number of people are going to get banned. Hopefully, you are not one of the folks exploiting the obvious issue here. And again, when you find something like this, I would encourage you to immediately report that you experienced it, you're not using it anymore, and you wanted to let them know that you found it, right? Rather than get yourself into trouble and potentially have your account banned. Savage. Now, I wonder how much folks were actually gaining. So I'm told that this player over here had less than 100 million power before the exploit and is now up to 880 million power. Oh gosh. I don't know. Did you think no one would notice that there's a new player at like the 800 plus million power range? Like, is that how that happens? I don't know. I just got shared this screenshot. I don't know the validity. Maybe it's Photoshop, but I don't think it is. 93L, Lions of 93. Maybe we can go find this. Maybe we can even go find this, right? So like, just don't do this. Don't do this. It's just asking for trouble. To wrap things up, you find an exploit, don't use it. Report it, okay? Report it. That way you don't get in trouble. Other people don't get in trouble. And like, I'm sure whoever first discovered this thought they were a genius. They're like, well, maybe not a genius, but like they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining power. But the first person who exploited it, maybe they thought they were a genius when they did it. I don't know. It's a lot of people are about to get banned. If you're looking for more hacks for Rise of Kingdoms, check out the card up in the top at the information button, where we've got our 12 hacks for Rise of Kingdoms that won't get you banned. Actual tips or, growth or life hacks, or, it's a play on the word hack that can help you get some serious value in Rise of Kingdoms. Throw a like on the video if you enjoyed this. Consider subscribing for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.